This is Goku's son DBZ, and later today I will be doing later than average comic book pickups episode. In this, I'm a little bit more somber, quiet reason is because unfortunately, a frontman of one of my all-time favorite rock bands has passed away just a couple of days ago, and that being Chester of Linkin Park. So with that in mind, this video is dedicated to Chester. And this will be a new episode of Best to Worst since I've done top 10 Linkin Park songs before. I'll be ranking, in my own opinion, best to worst albums from Linkin Park. These will be their 7 normal studio albums and then their 2 remix albums. Now, there was a 3rd remix album, but I have not heard that. These will be the 9 albums that I have heard, and of course, live albums are disqualified because there's nothing new really to bring to the table. So with that said, let's get this started. Coming in at number 9 is the 2nd remix album that I've heard from the band. It was, of course, featured Jay-Z in almost all the songs. Now, one thing I can certainly say about this specific album is that it didn't really impress me, which is why it's in dead last place. Its remix was released in 2004. It was called Collision Course. Coming in number 8 is their latest studio album, One More Light, released, of course, this year, 2017. Just about 2 months ago. I recently sat down and listened to the album in full here on YouTube. And I'll be honest, only one song in the entire album really stands out to me. For the most part, it's nothing but soft music. And the only reason why it gets a spot over Collision Course is because at least there is that one song I really like off the album. And it had an actual edge and kick to it. I just wish they could have produced more than one song with a good kick. But nevertheless, I will say at least you can feel emotion in the music. That's one thing I've always liked about Linkin Park, is the raw emotion you can hear they pour into their albums. And that's especially from the vocals over the years from, of course, Chester. Coming in number 7, released in 2010, would be the first major album that would really end up dividing the fan base. Coming number 7 is 1,000 Suns, which there's only maybe 3 or 4 songs total on the album that really I enjoy genuinely. Overall, I think the album is a mess, and I don't get all the interludes and stuff. Made no sense to me at all. But they learned from their mistakes with 1,000 Suns, at least for a couple albums. Coming in number 6 is an album with a little more kick overall than 1,000 Suns, and at least it wasn't as disconjointed. Coming in number 6 is their 2012 album, Living Things. Not too much to say overall about that. Coming in at number 5, in my opinion, is the best album to come out from the band since probably Minutes to Midnight. And that album was released in 2014. And far stronger than 1,000 Suns. And really, this album did have quite a kick to it. And I feel a lot of people overlook this album just because they stopped listening and stuff after 1,000 Suns. And honestly, you should give this album a shot if you haven't heard it. Coming in number 5 from 2014 is their album, The Hunting Party. Really good, really strong overall album, really good material. I really enjoyed the music. Strong emotion, it had a real kick and edge to the music, and I can really appreciate that. Coming in at number 4, released in 2002, was their first of their remix albums. And this was, of course, album Reanimation, which, of course, remix music from Hybrid Theory. Personally, I really enjoyed off this album their remix of Crawling. I thought was gorgeous and really well done, really well executed. And I loved the violin music in the beginning of the remix version. That brought it and gave Crawling, which was already a great song, a more epic scale and feel to the music. And I can really appreciate that. And it's one credit I always gave to Linkin Park. I may not always agree with the end result, but I really appreciate them for their willingness to experiment with different styles, genres, subgenres, and overall I can appreciate that at least they were willing to try new things. A lot of big names in rock music at the level of Linkin Park would never be willing to experiment. They would stick to their very basic formula, like many successful bands, unfortunately, out there. Coming in at number 3 is, personally, I really enjoyed this album. I think this is the album that has the most songs on it that I overall like. Reason why I only made 3, nostalgia factor for the top 2, and given how powerful some of the particular songs are on those albums. Minutes to Midnight comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, released in 2003, would be their second normal studio album, Meteora. For a time there, it was my favorite actual album from the band. It's gone back and forth for first place, but as of right now, Meteora comes in at number 2. Coming in at number 1, I guess it's not a surprise to most people out there. Coming in number 1 is Hybrid Theory, released in 2000, of course, which would go on to become the best-selling rock album of the 2000s and of this entire century so far of the 21st century. That's pretty impressive. That's one thing. I think Linkin Park's impact on music is definitely going to be major. I think eventually we look farther down the line. I think really the unfortunate death of Chester, suicide, combined with, of course, Great Depression, and also how influential in some current day music and generation Linkin Park has been. I think a lot of people look back in the future and view Linkin Park the same as people would view Nirvana. And also the tragic death of Chester, very much like Kurt Cobain, because of being greatly influential but having a real struggle with depression, which Kurt had that same issue. It's unfortunate, but that's one thing. Linkin Park was one of the few rock bands I can honestly say, like with Hybrid Theory and Meteor, it really helped me through some deep depression I went through in the early 2000s when I was a teenager to a young adult. Their music really helped me out on an emotional level, the same as other bands like Red and Evanescence are bands that really helped me out through a lot of things. People don't really understand the power of music, and that's one thing. And here are some particular songs I'm going to recommend you check out. First, some music I recommend off of course, their debut album, I recommend songs like obviously Crawling, In the End, Pushing Me Away, or songs like One Step Closer, from in 2003 for Meteora, Faint, Numb, Somewhere I Belong, Breaking the Habit. Also, one that's not a normal album, I recommend you check out New Divide. Or from Midst to Midnight, how about songs like Bleed It Out, What I've Done, Hands Held High, In Pieces, Shadow of a Day. And really, when you look back now, some of the music, the songs take on a whole new meaning when you look back now. Especially songs like Shadow of a Day and others. Also, the songs I recommend from their album Living Things, I recommend songs like Lost in the Echo or I'll Be Gone, A Line in the Sand. And of course, of other music they've done, I recommend All for Nothing. Waiting for the End, which I feel is the best song hands down off of 1,000 Suns. Also The Catalyst. And this is the song that really, I felt really had the same power and emotion that old Linkin Park had. And that is in my opinion, the by far strongest song off the new album. If you haven't checked it out, at least give this one song a chance. It's seriously good. It's called Goodbye. And I highly recommend you check out Goodbye. And I'll see you all next time for some future comic book reviews, as well as I'll see you in the future for comic book pickups later this day. And anyways, I'll see you all later. And to Linkin Park fans, we will get through this. And also, rest in peace, Chester. And our hopes go to Chester's family, as well as to the other members of Linkin Park. And I'll see you all in the near future for another future best to worst list. But leave a comment. Tell me, what was your favorite Linkin Park album? What was your favorite song from Linkin Park? What was it, the song that really made an impact on you personally? For me, it was the song Numb from Meteora. But I'm curious to hear from fellow Linkin Park fans, and I'll see you all next time here on YouTube Land.